This is AAFD TV, the official streaming TV show for the American Association of Franchisees and Dealers, whose mission is to help our members achieve total quality franchising. Let's get today's show started. Welcome to AAFD TV, the official streaming show of the American Association of Franchisees and Dealers. I'm your host, Joan Bowling, and I'm glad you're joining us. Managing people is one of the biggest challenges that franchise owners face, from HR and payroll to benefits, compliance, and hiring. When those systems aren't working, they pull focus away from your growing business. Today, we're joined by Alex Scheglowski of VensureHR. VensureHR provides full-service HR, payroll benefits, 401k solutions, and compliance support, helping franchise owners simplify workforce management so they can focus on what matters most. Alex, welcome to AAFD TV. So glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
Let's get started. And for those who may not be familiar with VensureHR yet, what would you say are the core strengths or core competencies when it comes to supporting franchise owners?
Well, great question. You know, VensureHR, we're an HR and technology firm. We're part of the Venture Employer Solutions. And what we try to do is we help our franchise owners streamline their operations, gain economies of scale, optimize their workforce. And we have 6 kind of main, what I would say, core competencies. The first one's recruiting. You know, we try to help them find and attract the right talent, whether that's traditional recruiting or nearshore. The second system is competency is payroll and HR technology. As the world has evolved, so has the technology of that. So we want to make sure that you're accurately paying your employees, complying with state regulations, and our payroll system helps make sure that that's accurate. I kind of went over to the next one, the HR and compliance. And you get expert support, advice, and consultations for helping your franchisees from a simple solution to a strategic solution, whether it's FMLA, EEOC, any of those acronyms that creep into, you know, the processes of running a business. The fourth part is kind of the benefits part. It says all encompassing. It can be health benefits, can be medical, can be dental, can be vision, ancillaries, AFLAC, whatever it is that you're trying to use to attract or retain your employees. And so with Venture, we provide the economies of scale to bring that to market. The fifth one is risk mitigation, is one of our core competencies. Is, you know, you think about cyber insurance, workers' compensation, compliance with, you know, with regulations and laws and workplace safety. So we make sure that our clients are compliant and mitigate as much possible risk as possible. And the sixth component that Venture does is the global part. You know, we operate in over 125 countries internationally. We operate in all 50 states, and we have a variety of different business models, from professional employer organization to administrative service offering to even employer of record. So depending upon what it is your goal is for your franchise, we're here to help you in those areas.
You've mentioned those 6 points, and that really are all the strengths that a franchisee needs to use to operate business effectively in that HR arena. So let me ask you this. You work closely with the AAFD. So what drew you to working specifically with AAFD members, and why do the franchisees resonate with the work that you do?
It's AAFD is an amazing organization. I just feel very lucky to be able to bump into them through a common relationship. And what AAFD means to franchising is basically the backbone, the support to helping franchise owners kind of stay, you know, true to what the franchisor was offering. And working with AAFD members is super exciting. I worked back in franchising over 18 years ago, and even became a certified franchise executive. So I understand the challenges of being a Z and a ZOR and kind of what that all means to the franchise owner. So working with them is super exciting because we're able to offer a 5-employee franchise owner a solution that's something as simple as just a payroll only solution. and at a very low price point. We're able to offer them a 401k solution. Typically, if you want to run your own 401k, it's going to cost you at least $3,000 to $5,000 a year. With Venture, it's going to be much, much lower to offer our pooled employer plan. And so working with AAFD members is just, I think AAFD is kind of like an angel type organization that comes in to help and protect its members. And I'm very fortunate to be partners with AAFD through VensureHR and help them, kind of take their business to the next level, whether it's, in HR handbook, or maybe it's something like, we need to attract some more people, or we need a better benefits plan. So I appreciate the question on, I'm excited about AAFD.
Good. Now, many franchisees, I would assume, already have some pieces in place or think, well, I can do it themselves. Some may not even be aware of what they need to complete that picture for HR. So they might have maybe payroll or workman's comp or benefits or multiple vendors. Why should an owner just step back and consider partnership with VensureHR instead of managing those parts separately?
Great question. Those, separate, we call them separate and disparate systems, kind of like silos of running a business. So I kind of look at running a business, and kind of, especially in the franchise, as like this past weekend, I went bowling, and bowling's, I don't bowl hardly ever, but when I think about bowling, I look at the bowling lane as that's the franchise system that this franchise owner signed up for. It's a clear path. It's smooth. You're not building your own bowling lane. And so with partnering with VensureHR, we help provide kind of minimizing some of the distractions that are going to the right, and to the left of you. You get this noise. You got all these different acronyms that pop up, like FMLA, HSA, Department of Labor, IRS, all these acronyms. And the job for VensureHR is to provide our clients, AAFD members, an opportunity for a better way. So if you look at the top of our food chain, we have our professional employer organization. It's almost as if we put up those two guardrails right along the bowling alley, and we'll help you stay compliant. We'll do a lot of the things that go into the administrative part of being an employer, and we'll assist you with that. And our second system is our administrative services offering. And that's kind of maybe having just one guardrail up. And then our third one is just a basic payroll and 401k solution. It might be like more of like a concave type of bowling lane that everything kind of goes towards the middle. And our job at Venture is to figure out if any of those solutions are right for your business, and they may not be. But it's when you partner with VensureHR, you get, you reduce some of the risk and the liability. And at the end of the lane, you got, maybe 10 pins that you want to try to knock down, one a year. And you want the business to, make sure that you're doing your sales and your marketing and you're doing your operations effectively. And with VensureHR, our job is to help you kind of continue looking down the lane of what your goals are, as opposed to the right or the left of this noise and these silos that pop up that you have to address because it just gets so loud. And so with Venture, we just try to help make sure that you have a proven track down the lane that helps you become more successful and achieve your goals. You want the business to build a brand, become successful, generate revenue, leave a lasting legacy for your family, and we're here to support you along that journey.
Thank you for that. And I love the bowling analogy that you keep franchisees in the lane, right? So they don't divert or go in the gutters, so to speak, but then also the goal in mind. Where do you want to get to? And that's fresh information, current information that changes all the time. And that's where VensureHR can jump into it. Now, everybody has that goal that, the pins at the end of the alley about retirement. And those retirement benefits can feel complicated, especially for growing teams, and maybe a bit hard to understand. So can you explain your 401k offering and how the pooled employer plan works in a way that franchise owners can really understand?
Yeah, great question. A lot of times when a franchise owner steps up and goes into business, they put, they push all the chips in. They put their house on the line. They put their it may be existing previous 401k. They may maybe go through a Rob's type plan to leverage their, becoming a franchise owner. So what's unique about Venture is we have this plan called a pooled employer plan. And what's interesting is that we have over $1.5 billion in plan assets with about 1,500 employers that are participating in that and over 90,000 participants. So typically when you start in a 401k plan, it's you and your employees that are working at your company, and you come to the table with your plan assets, which might be 100,000 to maybe a million. And then the plan administrator invests those, and the employees select what kind of risk they want and what plans they select. The pooled employer plan just provides you a single 401k retirement plan that unrelated businesses can join, and that's what Venture does. And what's unique about the exclusive AAFD Venture 401k plan is that we'll automatically put your AAFD member, we'll put the AAFD members into a higher plan that starts at $2 million in plan assets. And that corresponds over to your basis fees. What are your plan asset expenses? And so by having that many, kind of through the AAFD membership, you're getting access to lower fees, and you're able to participate in this 401k plan a lot more effectively. And whether your franchise is built, already currently has a Rob's plan, or a traditional 401k plan, or no plan. If you have no plan, then you definitely want to consider one, just because you get 3-year and 5-year tax incentives that are provided to you by the government to encourage you to provide retirement plans for your employees. And there's certain states that already require you to absolutely have a retirement plan. So we would certainly like to just have a discussion about that, if it's right or if it's not right. But I look forward to learning a little bit more about your members.
Right. And you already have the tools in place, the strength of the pooled resources, a lower cost. Why not take advantage of that, which you're doing so very well? Let's talk about if a franchisee already has systems and vendors in place. What does your onboarding and integration process look like? And how do you make that transition manageable?
Sure. I mean, just to be honest, right now, AAFD's got a great program. Our costs are discounted over what the market is. Venture is a very aggressive company. We want to try to make sure that there's a good fit for you. And so we just start off with an initial assessment. It's kind of like just having a virtual call with me or with our team, and just understand kind of what are the triggers, what are some events, what are some compelling events that are going on within your organization, what are your goals? And it's just a short conversation. And if we progress to the next spot, meaning you want to agree and kind of figure out if this solution makes sense for you, what we'll do is just kind of have more of a diagnostic discovery. What are your HR systems? What are your work comp systems? What are your benefit systems? What do you currently have in place? Are they combined? Are they unified? Is everything integrated? And does that align with what your hiring goals are? If you plan to add another 20% or 30% more staff in the next coming years, you're going to have processes and systems in place to handle that. So what we try to do is make sure that there's a fit. And if there's not a fit, which happens a lot, we'd certainly just let you know that. And many times, we already have several AAFD members as clients. We just recently became a supplier. But some of them are very small, and some of them have 20, 30, 40 employees. Some will have less than 5. And so we have solutions that can help the smaller franchise owners to the ones that have more employees.
It just makes sense, it seems, to take a look at VensureHR when you are a franchisee owner. So, Alex, thank you so much for your insight today. Your advice makes HR a lot more doable and a lot less intimidating. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Joan. I appreciate your time.
To connect with Alex, email him at alex.scheglowski@venture.com or visit their AAFD partner page at aafd.org. Thanks for watching today's episode of AAFD TV. Be sure to share this conversation with other franchisees, operators, and business leaders in your network. I'm Joan Bowling, and we will see you next time. time.